Welcome to Fight Night Hearthstone Edition, featuring some of the top players from around the world. With $25,000 in prize money on the line, who will go home the Hearthstone champion? This is Fight Night.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fight Night Hearthstone Season 3. Last time, Koyuki clutched it for his team against newcomer Savige, and now Liquid Value is only down 1-2. But tonight, the battle of the captains, Monk versus Artosis. Both players and the teams need the victory desperately, and we'll find out what happens right after you take a look at how we got here. All right, Koyuki versus Savages.
Taunts everywhere.
Wow. I was really like digging for answers. I didn't have anything in my hand. It was kind of desperate.
Koyuki going up 2-0 with his Paladin.
Let's meet our players. From Team Liquid Value, Kong Strife Crow Shu. The team captain, Kevin Monk Dong. The newcomer, Case Koyuki Kiyanaga. And you voted for the mayor of Value Town once again, Jeffrey Trump Shi. From Team DogeHouse, Marcin Nimch Filipovic. Yana Savage Mikonen, the team captain Dan Artosis Stemkoski, and the last doggy, but certainly not the least, Jan Ekop Palace.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the desk. I'm joined by Crip once again. After 3 days of play, Crip, do you have any opinions on what we've seen so far?
A lot of slow decks, a lot of sudden wins, except the first match, I guess, where the Hunter showed its dominance.
Nimsh's series is always 3-0 no matter what.
Or 0-3.
Or 0-3.
Yep.
Yeah. Someone's going home with 3 wins and no losses.
Someone's very sad and someone's very happy.
Well, actually, after 3 days, Team DogeHouse is still pretty happy. They're up 2-1, and it goes to Artosis versus Monk, the battle between the two team captains. You've played Artosis quite a bit, and you've had some experience teaming up with Monk. What are your opinions on the match?
Well, they're the team captains. I guess there's some reason to that. I'm sure they're pretty good players. They both won one, lost one, the last two big events that we had. I don't know who to give it to. We'll have to see how the cards are played.
It's really important for them to also prove, just for their team, they're leading their team to victory, right? That's essentially what it is. And now, whatever outcome happens, it's a very important moment for both teams.
Yeah. Well, Artosis would be actually leading their team to victory. Monk will be preventing defeat.
That's true. But he is the last line of defense.
That's right.
That'll be really important.
Yes.
So you've heard our thoughts. Let's hear Monk and Artosis' thoughts on the match.
Monk, I feel like this guy is a really great team captain for them because he's like so organized, he's so on top of things. But I don't think he's necessarily their top player. I really feel like Koyuki and Strife Crow are going to take those honors in Constructed. But he's a solid player overall that could take a match off anyone on my team.
Artosis is actually coming in 1 day before the tournament. Unfortunately, his plane got canceled. So he won't have as much practice time as some of the other players. I think he'll have the skills to go through to the tournament even without much practice. He kind of plays as almost a side thing, and he has a full-time job, obviously, as a caster. So he can still, I believe he can still make do with the limited amount of time and resources that he has.
Well, I mean, I was just downstairs seeing the guys practice, seeing what they're putting together, how they're coming about it, and it seems that the American group, they've played a lot more, so they've managed to grind out more ranks. So the American guys are playing in like rank 1 legendary rank, and the other guys are like the rank 10-ish. So you see a lot of like oddball stuff when you get to the lower ranks, and by lower I mean the 10s. Not the ones. And what ends up happening is you really have to be very intelligent about what's going on because all these curveballs, often you have to decide whether you're going to pay attention to them or ignore them. Whereas the higher end stuff, it's fairly controlled. So they're both practicing, but they're kind of practicing against a different field, and I'm sure we'll see quite some variety out of it.
So here are the rules for Fight Night Hearthstone Edition. 8 players form 2 teams and battle it out 4v4. 2 team captains spin the heartless ESGN wheel, which will determine the matchups. Now the battle begins. In order to win, the player has to beat all 3 of his rivals' decks. After all the players have battled solo, it's time for the final ace match. All 4 players on each team unite in a grand showdown to find out who is the strongest. Ultimately, the stakes are high. Teams can win as much as $5,000 for crushing their opponents. If one team manages to go even further and clean sweep their opponents, the winners will receive a huge bonus reward of $5,000 on top. Hearthstone is a 1v1 digital card game developed by Blizzard Entertainment, the company behind famous franchises such as StarCraft, Diablo, and the World of Warcraft series. Currently in the Hearthstone beta, you have the choice between 9 hero classes, akin to the Warcraft counterparts: Warrior, Shaman, Rogue, Paladin, Hunter, Druid, Warlock, Mage, and Priest. Each class has its own unique set of cards that you can choose to customize, as well as a unique hero power that you can use once per turn. Each player chooses 30 cards before the match. This format is often called constructed and is considered the primary form of competition in any collectible card game. Hearthstone is turn-based. Both players take separate turns to play their cards. You can play as many cards as you want, but be careful not to run out and be completely hopeless. The first person to have their opponent hit 0 health is declared the winner. With over 450 cards currently in the beta alone, Hearthstone offers an array of opportunities to build neat strategies and deck themes oriented around various playstyles. Similar to other strategy games, there is no one deck to rule them all. It comes down to who prepares the best and who gets the draws.
Last time at Fight Night, I had a fantastic time. You know, I go to a lot of tournaments, but normally just as a commentator, but being back as a player was a lot of fun, especially when I got to participate in the team format with a bunch of my friends that I play with a lot online. So that was really great, and I'm really excited about this time just because I had so much fun last time. I feel like I'm a better player now as well from that experience, and it's a lot of fun to go up against these other guys.
One of the most exciting things about this tournament is that it somehow just always happens right after a patch change, and I think one of the most fun aspects of the tournament is that we get to figure out what the best decks are right after the patch, and it actually incorporates a lot more skill into the tournament than it would be otherwise.
We'll be right back with Fight Night. We hope you prepared for more Fight Night.
All right, so we found out the first classes that are going to be chosen. It's Warrior versus Druid. Warrior for Artosis, Druid for Monk. And now that we have kind of intimate knowledge of what's going on, what do you really think about this?
Well, it seems that Artosis mentioned Warrior is his strongest, so he's putting the strength out there. He's probably not too sure what he's up against, and just thinking it's pretty good against everything. I think that's the general strategy. And Monk's going with the Druid. The Druid's a lot like the other Druids that we saw from their team, but I think there's a lot of surprises that we haven't seen come up with some of the cards. I don't know if we mentioned them before with the Savage Roar Force of Nature combo.
I think people saw one of those cards in the hand of, was it Strifecro or somebody that didn't really get to use
I'm not
it.
too sure.
Yeah.
But with Warrior, you know, often in the late game, you're kind of predicting where you're going to be at the next turn with a life. And these surprises tend to swing the games. So we'll see how it'll pan out.
All right, well, Warrior, just like you mentioned, is Artosis' most comfortable deck. So is Druid for Monk. So it's a clash of comfort. We'll find out what happens in game number 1 between these two players.
All right, let's get started
That
here.
is an excellent start from Monk. Wow.
Actually unbelievable.
That is dream.
I think you'd keep every card.
Yeah. I don't think you, I mean, you can play every single card on turn 1.
Not quite.
I'm not saying, sorry, you have the availability of picking one that you want to play between that Pagel, Harvest Golem, and Chillin' Yeti.
Just keeping the slam. I think keeping the slam is fine. It's something that you're never really too happy with. I mean, deal 2 damage, draw a card. Often you kill like a 2-drop. But, I mean, if you got nothing else, keeping it might be fine. He's got a lot of legendaries in the deck, so you really want to minimize the chance that you're drawn to some, all late game cards.
And cycling through is not bad either.
Well, Inner Rage is a pretty good card. He can 1-for-1 do 3 damage. Not quite enough for Mr. Pagel.
Which is exactly what it's going to be. Oh, Monk. He's already tossing out a sorry. But will Nat Pagel draw a card? It will not. And I think Monk will regret saying those kinds of words if it doesn't work out good for him.
Oh my God. Are we gonna see Inner Rage execute here? I don't think so, but he's gonna have to wait 2 more turns if he doesn't do that, and he has pretty much no plays.
Yep, so he's just gonna armor up instead and pass it over to Monk. But if Nat Pagel doesn't draw, then at worst it's a 1-for-1 with Slam.
Nat Pagel's bodyguard.
Yeah, the Chillwind Yeti.
Still no draw.
And
this
no draw.
Might get Inner Rage executed. Or Slam execute would be better.
Yep, Slam execute would be
certainly now that you got 2 executes.
There you go.
Yeah.
And cycling it through and see what he gets. Another Slam with another execute. All right. And that's a really good scenario for early game work if you want to get as late as possible.
Yeah, certainly. This actually favors Artosis by quite a bit, and it's largely because of the fact that the Pagel hasn't drawn anything.
Oh, there it is. And that's one of the cards, like you mentioned, Crypt, that's going to be one of the X factors.
Yep. So right now we're going to see a freebie Pagel kill, I believe, with the Kirkron Elite play.
Yep.
And while Pagel drew a card, he's killing it without using up a card. The creature still remains on the board. So essentially Pagel didn't really gain any value. It's just 1-for-1 is how you have to look at this.
Well, he used a coin to get to use it instead.
Well, I mean, with the Druid, probably just going to waste a coin on some middle-of-the-road creature.
Could have turn 1 Yeti'd and lived the dream.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could.
Yeah.
I'm not too fond of that play.
Well, I remember, people used to make a big fuss about that. I remember because you get a 4/5 out on turn 1. How can you deal with it? Not really that many options from Monk. He's gonna save his claw and trade his Harvest Golem instead.
Pretty greedy, but he sees he's a little behind on the cards and just goes for it. I don't think it's a terrible play.
And now Baron Geddon, one card that's very interesting along with Kirkron Elite. You don't see those 2 cards that often in this kind of mixture. Baron Geddon, more of an anti-aggro. What is your thoughts on incorporating Baron Geddon into this warrior deck?
Well, we did see a lot of Hunter decks so far in the tournament from the DogeHouse peoples. And they probably anticipate that the other team would also run something like that. So it might be for that, I would imagine.
I see, okay. It could be just a measurement to keep him safe.
It draws the Innervate, but it doesn't actually do anything this turn. Last turn it would have been far more useful for the Cairn, but... Man, there's not really a great play here. I think it's just attack the Loot Hoarder and pass.
Yep, just use your hero power. There's really nothing you can do. And I mean, Druid also does generally feel pretty comfortable in the late game as well. So I don't know.
I think he might be doing the Innervate Cairn just the 1 turn early. If he's trading there, that's what he's doing.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what's Monk trying to do? Just put some pressure on the board?
Right. The problem with Warrior is that they no longer run like Arcanite Reaper. So he's going to have to play a bigger creature for 6 mana.
Yeah, or Shield Slam or something like that.
Or the same creature for 6 mana.
That's always one way to answer your opponent.
Yeah.
All right. And, well played. That took a lot of thinking from Artosis to pull off, that's for sure. So turn number 6 for Monk. He draws his Ragnaros.
Again, not much in the way of plays here. I mean... Do you try to kill his Cairn with your Cairn? I don't even know what's going on right now. Like, it's just the same cards being played from both sides at a very slow pace.
It is, and it's kind of painting its way for the late game. Even if he does take out Artosis's Cairn with his own hero power, how much does that really accomplish?
I don't know. He can kill half of it with swipe hero power. And then attack into it for funsies.
Well, he can also shred down his armor, prevent him from shield slamming. Well, he doesn't know that there's shield block. But if Artosis draws a shield slam, that'd be really nice and convenient.
Certainly.
Instead, he gets Sylvanas.
Sylvanas is actually a pretty bad creature to play in this spot. You can kill Sylvanas and get your second form out. I don't like it at all.
unless you do some weird backwards play where you're in the pinch and you shield slam your own Sylvanas and steal his card. But that's a play that you only do really if it's super situational. You can't really count on that.
Artosis can clear the board here. I believe he can do a slam, attack into it, inner rage, execute.
That's a lot of cards on one dude, though.
Well, you draw one with slam,
and you
keep your dude. You can even cast the Kerkron to the face. I think it's all right. I just hate Sylvanas in this play. It's so poor. The ability is pretty much nothing. You're getting a vanilla 5/5. Because when the Death Rattle of Sylvanas pairs with Death Rattle of Cairn, nothing actually happens. She doesn't mind control anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like Harvest Golem then. Harvest Golem sometimes snatches it, yeah.
No, it's Harvest Golem. That doesn't happen with Harvest Golem either.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh.
I think it might happen with Harvest Golem if there's two Sylvanas that kill each other. But if it's the card with the Death Rattle that kills Sylvanas as it dies.
I could have sworn there's moments where I felt like I was playing Paladin, I'd play like Wild Pyro and Equality, and it kills my Sylvanas with their Harvest Golem. I've taken it, but is that a different situation then?
It could be, but what I know for sure that'll happen is if he plays Sylvanas, he's gonna attack it with his hero and then Suicide Cairn,
and it won't trigger.
It won't do anything.
Okay, well,
so Sylvanas is exceptionally poor right now.
Okay, and that could be a little bit above some people's heads who haven't tested out as thoroughly, because those kinds of mechanics could be a little confusing when they're vague.
He's thinking of Geddon just for funsies, I guess. I mean,
this isn't the time to be just playing just for fun.
It really doesn't do anything in particular, but it's never really going to.
You know, he could execute his own Sylvanas.
Yeah.
With the Inner Rage.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah. And then
no, execute is enemy.
Oh wait! Oh no! You only can play it on an enemy minion.
Maybe he heard you and was listening.
Oh no!
Yeah, the way you have to kill Sylvanas is with a Shield Slam. That's.
Oh man! Oh.
Well, we're going to prove my theory here real quick.
All right, let's find out what happens.
Here we go.
I think Monk's so tempted.
What's going to happen is Artosis is going to be really sad. That's going to be the outcome of this trade.
This is bananas. I mean, maybe Artosis knew this.
Maybe Monk is not aware.
Yeah, and he's playing scared.
This might be a bamboozle play here. It might be it. Monk may not be aware.
It's so crazy. It just might work.
Yeah.
Oh man. Now this is where, oh wow, I can't believe it's so unusual.
The first thing I would happen when it would be my turn is I'd click on the Cairn and then click on the Sylvanas.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna just try it anyways. All right, it's time to find out what happens.
Nothing.
Oh, okay, wow, so yeah. The clash, and now Artosis has to deal with it.
Well, yeah. He also is probably feeling pretty miserable right now.
No.
Because the only play worse than Sylvanas was playing Sylvanas and then Inner Rage.
Oh no. Because then he messes up his own execute combo.
Yep.
Oh gosh. So now Monk has a pretty big advantage, and he's gonna drop the Cairn just to make it within Druid the Claw range.
I mean, it's not overwhelming, but
no. Oh man,
it's one of those things that just really sucked.
Yeah, and then you have the Inner Rage for the Grommash combo for 12 damage, which can be insane.
Yeah, that's pretty sad as well.
Yeah. So let's see. He can slam. Yeah, let's definitely see what we can draw from there. And
slam trade, not too bad. Oh,
yeah, that's also really good as well.
How can you really make use out of it though?
Without being super inefficient.
I mean, you can use it just to execute the other minion.
You could.
It's pretty weak though.
But then cleave. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, if you do that, you kind of trade cleave for your Cairn, because otherwise he'd be able to kill it. Or yeah, Kerkron save execute. Okay.
Yeah, I think that way. So he's not. I mean, execute. He knows Druid's cards are getting way better very soon.
Well, if you look at the decks, it's actually the Warrior that has the bigger cards.
Oh yeah, but there's also like late game cards from Druid that you feel like you have to save it for just in case.
Yeah, because he did use one already, did he not?
Yes.
On the Yeti, on the innervated Yeti, he did, yeah.
So now we have a turn 8 for Monk. Ragnaros is
YOLO Rag.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Let's see if he delivers.
And he will not. Wow, and that could end up biting Monk in the butt. Ooh, especially with Wild Pyromancer on the board. Very easily to play that shield block and just execute.
Well, if you do that, you still kill the Wild Pyro, so it's still kind of like a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
But it's Ragnaros, so you can't be too sad.
And in the end, you deal with one of the biggest threats that Druid has. But yeah, you do end up trading a 2-for-1 there. But the good thing is the Rag still didn't hit the Bane Bloodhoof, so he can.
Yeah, he still has a creature on board, and certainly we'll see another one coming the next turn.
Now we do have the Golden Sylvanas for Monk.
Sylvanas isn't quite as bad here, just because the warrior ability is not going to be able to, finish it off.
I'm actually surprised he could have a Golden Sylvanas, because you could disenchant that for so much dust. How much do you get? Like,
it's double 1600, I think. I think 32. Yeah, I believe so.
That's insane.
Man, you got like dust in your eyes right now. Yep, goes to the Sylvanas. Probably the best play. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Swipe one creature?
Yeah. You could do that and just waste it. In general, against a deck like this that plays one big minion after another, swipe isn't very effective anyways.
That's a pretty good draw.
Yeah, it's an awesome draw.
If you could pick a card to draw, that would be among them.
And he can clear off Sylvanas this way. And then, wait, so he can... Yeah, he can clear off Sylvanas and even play his Loot Hoarder and stuff. For some reason, I was calculating maybe he could play Baron, but forgot the mana cost of the Fiery War Axe.
Yeah, 7 minus 2 is actually
5.
Not 7. Yeah. But going for face.
Going for face.
I'm not so thrilled about that, but okay.
Okay. And so he armors
he's
up.
He's hoping for a Gromash finish.
Yeah.
Which,
if he draws an Inner Rage,
pretty ambitious.
Yeah. But we've seen crazier top decks from Artosis.
Yeah.
Now, Force of Nature is a card. When can you use this card, Grip, in your opinion?
It's pretty good when your opponent has a lot of small things. So if you're playing against the aggro deck, it's pretty good. It's good to combo with Savage Roar because, you double the attack of each of them. It's good with things like Soul of Forest because they die at the end, but Soul of Forest by itself is not that great of a card. So it's a little bit niche, but it's kind of like one of those surprise things. Druid has come to the meta being so standard that just one curveball might set the difference.
Oh, this is kind of nice. Drawing a second swipe. Just gives more damage to what Monk can be doing. And get full board control. But again, without any taunts, Monk puts himself in
Artosis just needs to draw something to enrage his Gromash and it's game.
Gromash does how much base damage?
I believe it's 4.
Okay. And then the enrage is +6.
Yep.
So 4 plus the 3 on the weapon, that's 7. So he needs to, he needs the enrage.
Yeah, I don't think there's a card that does 3 damage to the opponent.
Unless he shield slams his own Gromash or something. So if he draws a shield slam, he can do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that do it.
Or a wild... Oh, never mind. Just kidding. Wild Pyromancer.
Well, if he had 12 mana.
Yeah. So if he had Innervate.
Well, then you wouldn't need Cleave.
Yeah. But he can also Baron, maybe, and shred him down a little bit. Do you feel like that's a play that's appropriate? And
yeah.
Kind of put some pressure. Otherwise, you can try putting Pyro and Cleave.
I think Baron just thrown out there is probably the best choice. Even though it doesn't actually do anything with 2 damage.
Well, it comes down to... Oh, it does also...
He may be trying to go for a greed play on the Druid. And the Druid's like, oh, well, 3/1 Pyromancer. I know what to do here. I'll just use my hero ability.
Yeah.
and he may not be expecting Grow Mashes. That is a pretty rare card, and it might be the situation where it's the correct play, just because the other isn't so great.
Now, I think Artosis is debating if he swings at one of the minions or even the face or whatever, but
I think if he swings at the face, it's too obvious.
Yeah. And so I think he's going to take out the Azure Drake instead and armor up and pass the turn. Now, interesting enough, he's kind of out of armor, so eventually Shield Slam's going to be out of the question.
Mm-hmm. Well, 24, he's got 7, he's got the Force of Nature, and he's got a swipe, so that's 10 in hand, 17. Yeah, it's not too far off. If he goes for it,
24,
he'll have lethal the turn after. The question is he going to be alive the turn after? Because that Grow Mash is a pretty dangerous card if he draws the right complement. The thing is, though, if this Wild Pyro dies to a spell and he uses the hero ability, he's going to be outside of the Grow Mash range unless he gets Inner Rage.
So there's only Inner Rage, though. There's no Slam left. So
right.
He really has.
There is Shield Slam,
but if he doesn't have any armor, it won't do anything.
Right, because that would be 11 mana to armor up Shield Slam and
So
Flame.
he's down to pretty much one card left then. If that's the case, because I don't really see any other card that could bail him out. If Monk puts him on the clock, though, Monk could be playing a little safer, try to control more, and try to have answers to his opponent's deck rather than going for a setup of lethal. But we'll see. He puts him at 11.
Interesting.
That does set up the potential kill next turn, anyways.
Well, he needs Inner Rage.
All right, the big moment of truth from Artosis. What's it gonna be? Oh,
almost.
Yeah. So he can. Is he dead no matter what?
Let's see.
So because his opponent has Force of Nature.
As far as he knows, he's still alive.
Yeah.
But we know that he's dead. So he's gonna think this through.
Yeah. I mean, he can try to trade or something.
No, there's nothing to try.
No.
This is done. Because his opponent has the Force of Nature.
That's too bad. Yeah, even if he didn't have Force of Nature, there's no way to stop the other damage, because Monk has things like Swipe and Claw to add to the damage. So Artosis is well in the danger zone.
It's pretty funny though. You know, it's like, well, we need Inner Rage, but we know a very specific turn where Inner Rage did not get used to its fullest potential.
That's definitely what he must be thinking about right now. He's just like, if I only didn't Inner Rage.
Yep.
I mean, he could have used it at other times as well. You never know. But now it's the final turn, as Monk has every 2 at his disposal to end this.
There's just no chance.
Yeah. He can Big Game Hunter, Force of Nature, and Claw to finish it off, if he really wanted to add some flair.
I don't think Monk does the super BM thing.
No, just ends it quick.
Yep, the clean kill.
Game number 1 goes to Liquid Value, and Monk climbs closer to evening out the series.
The comeback is on its way here.
Wow.
We're seeing it unfold.
Oh man.
Artosis is caving under the pressure.
That was definitely a play. That was a choke to remember.
Oh, that might have been worse than when Crip killed his own Sylvanas to steal the... Oh my god, I was thinking about it so much. I'm like, I've never done anything like this. Would this be stupid if I do this? And then eventually I'm like, you know what, having 2 Karn Bloodhoofs is pretty good. I'm like, oh.
Whoops. You would have just don't think about doing it.
I know.
Don't think about it anymore.
No, I know. I was pretty shaken.
Fans will be overjoyed.
I know.
Just saved your call. You would have won.
You threw away the golem, I think.
The good news is your mistake caused him to Inner Rage his own guy.
It's alright though.
Claude and what?
And Hero Power and killed the 4-3. You use your Hero Power and Suicide the Harvest Golem.
Because you basically had like 3 or 4 ways to use Claw early.
Okay.
And you never used it.
You save your mana, you just pass the turn 2 mana.
Like at the end of the game, you're still sitting with the Claw.
Using Hearthstone with it, you lose half the Hearthstone, you lose 2 damage. Right?
Basically, what Scraft is saying is Claw is worse than Harvest.
What did I do instead?
You hit the Kor'kron Elite with the Harvest Golem instead of Hero Power Claw.
Did I have extra mana on that turn?
Yeah, you had 3 extra mana.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starring Dan Stokowski.
Well, I think
And
it's
Inner Rage.
I think on top of it all,
The
I think it's
untold love
pretty
story.
funny that we hyped up the deck, saying that Artosis, it's his best deck.
He's
He
most
feels
comfortable. He knows
with it.
this deck, man, like the back of his hand.
Yep. Except for that execute card. It
Yeah.
seems. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of bad to bring this up, but I've seen Artosis made this mistake also once in his
Oh,
stream.
wow.
Where he was thinking he could execute his own minion to prevent, I think, a Sylvanas steal or something like that.
I've made the mistake as well,
Yeah.
but I definitely wouldn't call it my best moments.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I mean, it's
not.
one of those things where you try Warrior for the first time, it's like, oh, that's how it works.
Yeah.
But in a tournament stage, it's a good idea to know all the cards.
At least take the time to read the text, and it's a good reminder to people to continue to watch for the best plays possible. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, game number 2 between Artosis and Monk.
Stay tuned for more Fight Night. We hope you've prepared for more Fight Night.
Welcome back, everybody, to the desk. We're getting ready for game number 2 between Artosis versus Monk. A very interesting game number 1, where Criff even reminded me that it was not just tossing out the Inner Rage, it was the fact that it was on Sylvanas and put Sylvanas within killing range.
Yep.
And if
Just
the
a
Druid had
freebie.
to remove it, it would have taken 5 extra damage,
Yep,
putting
and
him
the
in
5
lethal
extra
range.
damage would have also gotten them killed.
That's right. So lots to regret for Artosis, but he has to think about the present.
Well, that's how it is with Hearthstone. I mean, when people play and their play is not scrutinized, this stuff goes unnoticed. But in a tournament stage, what may seem in hindsight to a normal player as a small mistake, it very clearly sometimes has pretty big consequences.
It's definitely the moment of you feel like it's perceived ingenuity. You think, oh my god, I think I have the greatest play, and then you rush it and you don't actually think it through, and that is exactly what happened to Artosis. But he does have a few more seconds to collect himself before game number 2 is the battle between the captains Liquid Value versus Team DogeHouse. Let's get into the game. Some players abuse that, but most players actually take the time to think it through, and I think Artosis, a lesson learned.
It's the doggies.
Ooh, unleash the hounds.
Hard to say. I mean, this Hunter deck has come up quite recently. Some people have had a lot of experience with it, but it's difficult to say where you place it among these decks. We do know that Monk's deck doesn't have very many taunts. It has the Drew of the Claws, and that's about it from what I can tell.
Yep. Something that actually just hit me a second ago is the players on the other team, Team DogeHouse, still don't know that Force of Nature is in the Druid decks.
Right.
So Monk actually withholding it last game was a little clever ruse as well. Now it just hit me that.
It's pretty interesting. It's true.
And so now we do have Artosis. No
that's
one.
Pretty
drop.
rough hand.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call the no one drop a rough hand. I would call all those massive chargers a pretty rough time for Monk. I mean,
for Monk to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got Leroy. You got Arcane Golem.
He has the
he's got the
Unleash Hounds
silence.
as well.
He's got the unleash.
The Leroy Unleash combo was pretty devastating.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't need to do a lot of damage this turn, and the Druid deck kind of thrives from being pretty greedy with a lot of its plays. And if Monk plays it out that way, he is definitely going to be punished for it.
And Monk does have the Innervate, where he can toss out something like an Azure Drake.
Yeah, pretty easy play. I mean, it's Innervate Drake or nothing, so it's a lot better than nothing, in fact.
Oh, it is, and he puts a minion to respond to anything.
Yeah, you draw the card that you invest with Innervate, so it's like playing a Drake for 3 mana, 4/4 spell damage. That's
not bad.
It's actually a lot better than not bad.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty
good.
incredible.
Well, now we have a turn number 3, and it starts getting a little interesting. Again, you were pointing out the other day, Arcane Golem early on is pretty risky to do against an opponent that wants to
It's just
ramp up.
flat out terrible.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's risky. He knows that the Druid has a lot of like mid to late game cards, and giving him the option to play them early is going to be quite crushing. And it's also very important if you're the second player not to play it early, because it gives your opponent a 2 mana lead. And when you're looking at like turn 3, 4, 5, a 2 mana lead is just absolutely crushing. I mean, you drop a Harvest Golem, they drop a Druid of the Claw. It's that kind of level.
Oh, but Artosis is going to go for it anyways, and just go for face. So turn number 4, Monk starts with 5 mana.
Well, what does he do here? He has the claw,
He can
which is
easily
usually
remove
a
it.
good play, but he takes some damage for it.
I think
I really hate to see a trade here, but that is the safest option.
yeah, you want to minimize the damage as much as possible, because then if our King Golem does effectively 8 damage, that's pretty good.
I think you just take the damage. I think you just have to claw.
And then put out Harvest Golem with the Pyro.
Well, you can't cast both. It'd be claw and harvest.
Sorry.
Golem.
Yeah, I was not paying attention to that. Yep. And I think, I mean, because Monk has some pretty good follows, but again, he's feeling pretty good about.
Oh, does he just go for the Pyro?
At least.
I guess he wanted
being
that
able to do
extra armor.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent option. I just feel that Harvest Golem tends to kill all the chargers twice, so that's why I really like
It's
it.
just really sticky to the board, so it's really hard for people to remove it. Now, Artosis draws a kill command. His options are kind of limited.
Just the one? Yes, this is actually I think the same hunter deck that we saw Nymph sweep the
feels very
first
similar.
opponent. Yeah, feels quite exact, in fact.
Yeah.
So the one kill command we know is a pretty big swing. He's got all the big swing cards right now, and that's why it looks pretty scary. Just looking at that hand, that's so much damage.
Do you feel like setting up a trap would be good here and just pinging and trying to see what you can get?
I mean, normally you want your opponent to have creatures, but the problem is the Pyro kills all your doggies for free if you go for face. So it's not the kind of creature you want your opponent to have.
Yeah. So in this scenario, then, what would you advise?
I don't know. I think I'd go trap ping.
I think so too. But silencing also effectively lets him load up while taking away the threat to the doggies.
Yeah.
And you never know, he might get slightly greedy and take 1 extra damage, which could be the deciding factor.
Yeah. Well,
if he
that's a
didn't draw a
decent card.
swipe.
I don't know if he will swipe here, because if he does, he doesn't have much of another play. But, I mean, how good is Sylvanas really? How good is Harvest Golem? Harvest Golem is pretty good. But
Harvest Golem is pretty excellent. Sylvanas could be good just for the sheer power level, just putting out a 5/5 on the board.
I just feel that, I mean, he's silenced your Pyro for a reason. you don't really want to swipe here. I think Harvest Golem and either hero ability or attacking the Drake into the Owl is the correct play.
Okay. And I'm inclined to agree. At least I think in Harvest Golem on the board is really good, but that effectively removes every other play other than the, well, Tink Master, but that's not really good. So let's see what Monk concludes. I think he really is flirting with the idea of Sylvanas, though, just because having a 5/5 on the board, and then when you have things like Force of Nature the next turn, really starts putting out a lot of damage, because, let's see, he does 7 here, plus the 12 next turn, plus the 6. So that'd be 25?
Big numbers.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
So he would actually have,
He's
lethal
just
next
going
turn.
for it.
He has lethal next turn if Artosis doesn't stop it. And that's so unusual for a Druid deck to do that. Artosis could be looking at a quick 0-2 deficit if he doesn't do something now. But one thing interesting is he can do the Leroy Unleash the Hounds combo. I don't know if that will save him, but he can do it.
I mean, he might be thinking at 18 life, I'm fine. Because again, I don't know if he's seen the Force of Nature.
No, he hasn't. No one from Team DogeHouse knows the Force of Nature.
So he might just go for it, and you're right, it will certainly fail. That is a pretty advanced strategy for Monk if it is intentional.
Yeah. Because this deck doesn't ever really run taunts, and they always try to avoid trading because they want to load up the board and they want to go for the face.
Yeah.
That could be what Monk is going for. And what does he get? Does he get... Oh, he gets Leok.
No Huffer.
That's I think that's like the worst possible one you could have gotten.
Well, now Unleash is pretty decent.
Oh, you're right. He could still unleash the Hounds. And even...
Abusive
Sergeant.
Yep.
And that would give him the ability to trade, I think, every minion. on the board. Well, no, he would lose his Leok from killing Sylvanas.
He would have to Abusive the Owl and use the Owl to kill Sylvanas and hope that it picks up a doggy. Yeah.
Well, the odds could be in his favor, but still, we all know that Monk holds all the cards if Artosis doesn't really trade these out, but he really can. What's it gonna be, Dan?
It's all these tough spots. It seems like, you kind of know it's over.
Yeah.
And the players just figuring it out.
How can you swing it if possible?
Yeah.
He's coining out. Whoa, is he gonna Beast Command? Or sorry, Kill Command.
What are you gonna Kill Command? You can't do it on Sylvanas.
Oh wow, he's gonna go straight
good.
for it.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be it. I think Artosis is just gonna get wombo comboed and he doesn't even know it.
He went for the kill with Leroy Unleash on the next turn.
Yeah.
But there is no next turn.
Unless Monk misses it. But Monk should know.
Yeah, I think
there's actually no way to miss it.
I think Monk is pretty good at addition. I've noticed.
You can just swipe in hero power too. There's no way to miss it. So if he wants to hide Force Unleasher even more,
he still can.
Be secretive. Monk. Got it. All right, 5, 4, 3.
Spell damage.
And well played. I think he missed a click.
No,
he reveals it. All right, well, I guess better late than never. Artosis goes down 0-2 in this best of 5. And we'll send it to game number 3. We're gonna find out what happens. Monk looking like Liquid Value
comeback is almost complete.
Without
almost even here.
Without Team DogeHouse winning a game so far in the past 2 series.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely what I wanted to see.
Yeah, game 5 that has everything on the line.
There's a lot of meaning to it at this point, certainly.
How could I have killed him without it? Oh yeah, swipe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I thought so. I was thinking. Blood Mage swipe. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I forgot about the Azure Drake. Yeah, that was bad.
That's okay. That's okay. That's not really a...
I was thinking.
We were talking about. I like when you just played.
Yeah. I was thinking. Yeah,
It's way better than what we were doing. Or what we were thinking of.
Yeah. I thought if he didn't clear it, then he would be dead next turn anyway.
Well, I was just thinking of normal priest cards, and I was like, he can probably get me down to like 2.
Well, he would be able to heal a swipe with spell damage.
Oh, spell damage. Oh, I'm just terrible at this game. Yeah. Whatever.
It's okay. Now you're having your priest.
That's okay.
You know how to break like priest.
Actually, pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, that game.
I gotta say.
Yeah.
All in all, I think Artosis played pretty well in that game. Don't have much reason to expect that level of burst.
Yeah, from a druid.
Yeah, you have some suspicion because of how he played the turn before, but yeah, I don't know. Pretty tough spot. I don't think he really made any really big mistakes there.
Yeah, I don't think so either, and I think because he did have a potential next turn kill if his opponent didn't have taunts. And we've also seen the druids from Team Liquid Value not really have many taunts in general. A few of them have been
I think we've just not
scenarios.
seen many taunts in general.
I don't know, it just seems, and that's kind of why Black Knight has been cycled out of some of these decks.
Yeah, Argus is still big, but nobody really runs any of the pure taunt cards. We haven't seen Sunwalkers. We've seen Druid of the Claw only in a few Druid decks. And aside from that, Ancient of Wars are phased out. A lot of Shaman, no Earth Elemental.
And as a result, Artosis is now down 0-2 despite his best efforts. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll find out if the BlizzCon champion can bring it back.
We'll be right back with Fight Night. Welcome back to Fight Night.
The third deck that I'm planning on as of this moment during this interview, that it could change, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to use it, is actually a deck that I made myself that everyone's kind of disagreeing with me on and saying I'm not completely sure about this deck idea, but I think it complements the other 2 decks I'm using very well. So hopefully that's the one that I'm really hoping doesn't tank, because that's kind of my personal little creation. No one else is using anything like it.
Well, Artosis is now back into his seat, and it's time to find out if he can take it back in this series. But I'm looking at this third deck, Crip. It's looking pretty dicey.
Well, we've seen Artosis get lucky in the past, but he's gonna need to get really lucky to win this set here.
And to his credit, this deck does have merit to it. It's a priest deck, by the way.
Yes.
It does have merit to it. It's just that, just like you mentioned, you feel like it's slightly outdated.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we saw priest prior to the season of Fight Night was actually at BlizzCon major tournament, and part of that was Artosis priest deck. And this is pretty similar. A lot of the mechanics that are at work with the injured blade, with the circle healing, you know, all that is still going on. It just, you know, throws in a couple of fun legendaries like, well, Prophet Velen, apparently.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was in, but apparently. So
should be a good time.
Yeah.
I think Priest is surprisingly more viable than a lot of people think, even though they didn't get a lot of buffs or even any buffs in this patch. Because the metagame has shifted a bit towards more slow play, I think Priest in some ways has benefited a lot.
Well, I don't think it's going to be that effective, but we'll see.
One can hope. Game number 3 between Monk and Artosis is beginning with Priest versus Druid. Now, Monk also...
Savage Force of Nature combo going back in the deck.
That's too bad. That's a really fun combo. And I used to try, back in the very early days, I did that with like an Innervate Savage Roar, and you like draw a bunch of times and basically set up your own miniature OTK. But
keeping the keeper, I really like keeping silence against priest, especially if I don't know what I'm playing, especially in arena, because somehow Lightspawn always gets picked.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that card in Construct in a very long time. Not in the serious note, at least. So you got the two Soul Priest and the Blade Master. Those are two cards that do not work together.
Yeah, and you know, you want to heal up the injured Blade Master as much as possible, but in the same way, they're linked by the same card. The Circle of Healing does help both in those cards independently, as much as they are polarizing. Oh, Artosis holds on to this Northshire Cleric.
I think that's a fair play.
Okay.
The Druid can be pretty explosive with Innervate and just get a creature that kills it for free. And we know that's actually exactly the case.
Yeah.
We're going to be seeing a Chillwind next turn. That's not a card that a priest can normally deal with so easily.
Oh, so there's a card, and Artosis gonna hold on and not even play his Blade Master.
Wow. That's pretty unusual to me.
Quite literally keeping his cards close to his chest.
I mean, when I am on turn 3 on a priest, and I have an injured Blade Master against an empty board, I think I'd play the injured Blade Master.
I think you, well, yeah.
Because now what do you do? If you had played it last turn, I mean...
Oh no, he's gonna pass it right back. Artosis hasn't played anything for 4 turns.
He could have drawn 2 cards and killed the Chillwind.
Yeah. If he was able to do something about it, but now we have a different instead. We have
he drew the Cabal Shadow Priest, which is pretty nice. You have incentive to keep the 2/4 alive to take it essentially next turn. So I believe I know how this turn is gonna go. He's gonna click on that hero power, click on the hero, and end turn. Yep.
Oh my goodness, this is still just.
It's not that bad. I mean, he's only down 4 health.
Yeah.
Takes another 6, but he has the Holy Fire, he has the Velen.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the life is really not all that important. It's just the state of the board that's somewhat important, and the Cabal Shadow Priest is going to affect that to a pretty large degree.
I wonder if Monk's thinking like, man, is he holding like a mountain giant?
Or Holy Fire.
Well, Holy Fire will be. And, well, I was really hoping he would use a Holy Fire with the Prophet Valen combo to maybe even end the game, or swing it in a way so dramatically. That would have been awesome. Turn number 6 here for Monk. He has pretty much every option at his disposal, short of his Ancient of Lore.
Well,
and
if his aggression keeps going, I'd probably guess he'd Chillwind. I mean, his last Chillwind just got Holy Fired.
It's a good value, 4 for 6. And
I'd probably play the Chill, and I'd even consider playing the Wild Pyro.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that bad of an idea. And then load up the board.
Against Shadow Madness, he can only kill one card. So that's the idea, because the you have to Shadow Madness either the Wild Pyro or the 2/4.
If you Shadow Madness and you take the Wild Pyro, it procs the ability.
Oh, does it?
And then you can take out the.
Oh, yeah, I
Drake.
think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right. That is pretty dangerous then.
That's it's something that's very minute that you don't really think about, but we'll see what Artosis responds with. Turn number 7, he gets a Shadow or Pain. Now,
actually, is he even running Shadow Madness? No, he's not.
He isn't.
This is the old school Priest.
Whoa! You know, I think Shadow Madness is one of Priest's best cards, if not the best card.
Especially now that there's like loot hoarders and harvest golems everywhere. Well, Artosis managed not to play like any card except Holy Fire.
Oh no.
So now that he's forced to play cards, I wonder what he'll go with.
I think he wanted something like a Circle of Healing with the Alternate So Priest.
I think he wanted a different deck.
Well, I think he also told me before the matches, he was saying, hey, this last deck I'm going to play could either work really well or it can go all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, it hasn't gone really well.
Well, it looks like he's coming around to taking that 2/4 creature.
Yeah, 2/4 creature, and he can use that to. You can't attack with it immediately. Instead, you just kind of take it. But at least it sort of, in a way, evens out the board position a little bit. And yeah, I guess use a cleric to just take something.
Yeah, it seemed that in the early turns he was very greedy, and now he's so desperate that it's really just gonna not work out. So
And
you have the spell damage swipe.
Yeah, and you can finish off the rest with things like Wrath.
No, the Wild Pyro actually finishes it off pretty well.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
You can do swipe into hero ability and it cleans up the board.
Oh, actually, he's gonna
Savage Roar.
He's gonna
That's right,
end the
Savage
game.
Roar
That's
swipe.
right.
It's over.
Wow, so
I didn't even see that card in his hand.
it hid there all the way into the end. And Artosis is going to drop the third game. Monk ends it in a 3-0 sweep very quickly. And now, all of a sudden, Liquid Value has tied it back up 2-2 in the overall series.
Man, that was a pretty shocking 3 games.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting that at all. Starting from the very beginning with the Warrior game, and then ending with this Priest deck. Now, there's some interesting ideas here from Artosis, but again, the early game just didn't pan out the way he wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can see it in the faces of the other players' team. We have the sadness and we have the happiness.
Yeah.
And look at the happiness, all smiles.
Well, I think they're just breaking. I mean, it's Liquid Value was down 0-2 with Strike Pro out, and Artosis is just...
Yeah, the last match, it seems like Artosis had the cards to play. Like, turn 3, nothing, injured Blade Master, holds on to it, you know? If he played that and did like the double Northshire into heal, you draw 2 cards, and even if you don't get a good trade, even if you have to sack a Northshire, you're still winning out because you drew 2 cards.
And you have a 4/5 with 2 minions on the board to support it.
And you kill the Chillwind instead of spending the next turn to Holy Firing. So I don't know. It feels like he just played that game like it was going to be a slow game after seeing the force of nature in the previous round.
So no respect given to the Druid deck.
Yeah,
and I think
certainly didn't work out.
Not at all. And Artosis, well, we're gonna have to hear his thoughts after this quick commercial break and see if we can tap into his mind and find out what exactly happened in that series. We'll be right back.
See you after the break for more Fight Night. We hope you prepared for more Fight Night.
Man.
Give it to me, come on, let's just get this over with.
What was it, a crumble, or did you just give him the victory?
Well, the first game, that play has to be considered, it definitely rivals your killing your own Sylvanas to kill a damaged golem. It rivals that for certain.
I don't know,
It might even be worse. Like that was pretty bad. It could. I don't know. Yours was pretty bad too. But no, this was a terrible play. I can't even because that's never even. I don't think that's ever come up for me before. And I was like, wait a minute, this could be a smart move.
Actually, we talked about it, and apparently it has come up, and it was streamed on your stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad that you watched my stream so much that you remember that.
It seems like quite an event for it to happen again.
Yeah,
at this
I don't know. That was a pretty stupid move, and I definitely would have won that game if I hadn't done that. Like,
both ways, in fact.
I could have actually done anything but that, and that game would have been mine.
That's actually true.
So that was actually, in many ways, like that was the nuts low play. So that was, it's impressive in that regard, right? So
it was definitely quite a surprise, not only to see you play the Sylvanas. But to then lead with the inner rage free kill.
Yeah, that was pretty surprisingly bad. As soon as that happened, I was like, uh-oh, the internet's gonna get me.
The other play that I thought was pretty shocking as well, it's obviously not, it's not like donating a game, but it's kind of like inactivity in the last game.
Yeah,
I felt like
I had a very specific plan there, actually. I totally, like, in hindsight,
what
obviously...
was the strategy with not playing the injured Blade Master on turn 3 and on an empty board?
Oh, well, I figured he had to have, like, a Claw or a Wrath or something, and that would go down quickly. Whereas if I hold on to him a little bit later, like on a turn 5 or a turn 6, I can, like, play him and a Cleric and heal up, draw a card. He's bigger, he lives through more. But the inactivity on turn 4 with the not dropping the Akanai is probably where I really went wrong, I think. But I didn't think he was going to get that many minions out that quickly with a Druid deck, but I guess I kind of misread what I was playing against.
Yeah, certainly seeing both sides, and as the viewers probably got to see, keeping up with the deck was probably the most important thing to do, and you certainly went the other way on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, see, I wanted to, basically when I play this deck, it's very close to my BlizzCon one, where it very slowly gains an advantage. Like I take a bunch of damage in the first turns, and then I just start killing everything one by one, and didn't quite work out there.
You did take a bunch of damage in the early turns, in fact. But then you took a lot more damage in the turns after that.
That's how you lose a game, right? So I did that pretty well. I mean, here's the upside though, is I cannot possibly ever play worse than that again in my whole life. So
well, you will get an opportunity in,
I'll do my
the final
best.
round here coming up.
Thanks.
So good luck in that, I guess.
Thanks.
How's it going, Monk? It seems like you looked like a genius in that last series of matches. How do you feel?
It might have looked pretty easy for me, but I thought in game 1 I made a couple of mistakes. But fortunately for me, Artosis made even more mistakes, or should I just say, one big mistake. It was as if I took that inner rage from his hand and put it in my own.
I'm kind of interested, when I was watching you play it, it was like you were either in shock that it actually happened or didn't know what would result in Karen attacking Sylvanas. What was going through your mind in that moment?
I knew if I attacked Sylvanas, he would not steal anything. But I was just considering some, like what else I would do with my mana. And also, yes, I was in a bit of shock that happened, that I had a 7-5 or 7-4 Sylvanas to run into fairly easily. If he didn't interrage, I probably would have had to hero power it, take 5 extra damage, and
yeah, that would have been the game.
That probably would have been the game right there.
Did you also pick up on the fact that he tried, after interraging Sylvanas, to click on a card in his hand and hover over Sylvanas? Were you clued into what that card may have been?
Was it charge?
Actually, no.
It was, okay, so he had 0. Okay, he had 2 mana left, right?
He had 1.
He had 1? Okay.
It was execute. All right, I guess you weren't clued in.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I get it now, okay. I see what happened. Yeah, I actually found out like 2 weeks ago that you can't execute your own minions.
Right. I actually figured that out playing that deck after a couple matches, yeah. Well, I mean, you evened it out one way or another. It's even. It's the
somehow.
Final round is going to be coming up tomorrow, and should be pretty exciting to see how it's going to go down.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I'm excited as a team. I'm excited for the tournament in that we get a very exciting finals in that we're down 2-0, 0-2, and then we came back 2-2, and now this is for all the marbles.
All the marbles.
All the marbles.
Check it out.
You heard it here first. Marbles.
So there you have it. Monk defeats Artosis 3-0, and Liquid Value ties up the series and sends it to the ace match. Now it's going to be different from previous seasons. Last time we had 1 versus 1 with a mysterious player, but next time we're going to have all 4 players on each team play together against the opponent. It's going to be a great time. Don't miss it. See you tomorrow night.
All right, guys, we're ready for our picks and bans